All right, y'all, welcome back to another episode of Hashtag CV99 Talks. This is episode 65. Of course, I'm Combo Breaker 99. All right, y'all, back with another episode. Back once again to talk some boxing and some WMMA on this episode. Of course, boxing world, we're taking some more big hits. We're taking another two-piece. Got hit with another two-piece, y'all. Another big fight off. Another big fight off this summer. We were hoping this fight was going to pull through. We were hoping we were going to have a real hot summer, but this summer's lukewarm on us, man. It's gone lukewarm, man. But it's like I've been talking about my last episode, hardships. Imagine the hardships that we complain about as fans. Imagine the hardships these fighters got to deal with. This is money. This is money in their pocket. This is their career. This is their livelihood. So imagine what they deal with. For us, it's our Saturday night. It's our entertainment. Shoot, we can find something else to do, right? I mean, it is disappointing, though. It is disappointing, but this whole episode is not going to be a downer. It's not going to be just about cancellations. But I do want to talk about Spence Pacquiao, the fight being off. That's being our second major blockbuster fight for the summer that's off. So I want to discuss that a little bit. But then I want to jump into the WMMA world, of course, and just kind of play matchmaker this episode. Let's have some fun. Let's talk about Tecia Torres, what she wants next. After her win over Angela Hill in her post-press fight conference, she talked about who she wanted next. She said she wanted a top 5 fighter. So let's talk about that. Does she deserve it? Does she? Yes or no? We'll talk about that. Sijara Eubanks wants to smoke. Sijara is not calling out. Shoot, Sijara Eubanks calling out not 1, not 2, not 3, but 6 fighters. She called out 6 fighters on her IG, so I want to go over that with y'all and just kind of play matchmaker, see who's the best opponent for her to get back into the top 10 mix at flyweight. It's been about 3 years since she's competed at 125. She's looking good as far as the weight, and now she's calling names out. So who's going to be that fighter for her to get her back into the right mix at flyweight? And of course, I talked about this in the live stream with y'all. We're going to try to talk this fight up. Miranda Maverick versus Montana De La Rosa. Why the fight makes sense. They're meeting in the middle. So we'll talk more on it. Amanda Nunes and the hold up for this Juliana Pena fight. Juliana Pena wants an interim fight now to kind of really, really put Amanda Nunes in the corner to get this fight, which I kind of understand now. I know Amanda Nunes, she did test positive, and I do take those things seriously. But, it's about time. It's about time for the double champ to return. It's been 2 years. 2 years. It's going on 2 years since she fought at 135. So, we got to talk about that. And last but not least, Pam Sorenson returns to Bellator 264 this Friday. Dang, I'm just looking right here. 2 more fights. 2 more fights have been canceled on Bellator 264. So let's hope for the best, man. Let's hope for the best that Pam gets to make her return. Nothing else crazy happens for this card. But yeah, man, like I said, boxing has really been taking some big hits over the past few years, and now this summer of 2021, I think it's turning out to be the worse than the summer of 2020, actually, man, because we knew what it was last year. The pandemic was there, so everything was pretty much done. I mean, towards the tail end, like around September, we started getting some more fights. The return of Tank, the Charlo brothers came back. On into the end of 2020, we did get the return of Errol Spence, but this year, man. This year was supposed to be a good year, but our biggest fights just didn't come to fruition, man. First off, Tyson Fury versus Deontay Wilder. We're supposed to be talking about that fight now to this day. We're supposed to be talking about this fight right now, even though it's 2 or 3 weeks old now. But that fight had to get canceled because Tyson Fury, his team tested hot. I don't know how true that was because, Tyson Fury was still out and about. So, I accepted that. I had to accept that because that's the new norm now. That's the new norm. With this pandemic around, we're going to get that. But this is another one where we can't blame the fighters. We definitely can't blame the fighters in this one because this injury's been around for a long time. Like I said, in hardships, these are injuries that we got to always keep an eye out for, especially boxing. Errol Spence Jr., the reason this fight is off is because he suffered a detached retina, damaged retina in training. The doctor said, no, you can't fight through that. That's one of those injuries that could end your career. So, Errol Spence Jr. had to have surgery. He posted up this picture. PBC, the PBC website posted up this picture of Errol Spence with the eye patch right here. And I'm just showing you that the surgery was good, and he's recovering. Manny Pacquiao's reached out. He's praying for his recovery as well, so they can still get the fight on. Errol Spence said, "Hey, I'll see you in 2022." So yeah, it's disappointing on our part. But as fans, like I said, we kind of forget what the fighters have to go through. We forget that fighters bleed and they're human too. We forget that the training they go through for their careers is hell. It's hell when they get, get in that ring, put the headgear on and spar for rounds. That's hell on them, because we think that these people are like some type of supermen or superheroes, but they're not. They're people like us. These fighters are people like us. They just choose to do this life, this career where they put their life on the line, so we still have to understand that and give these guys respect. Like if they suffer a broken rib, fractured hand, detached retina in this case, we have to give them respect and say, okay, we understand. And, I understand this. I'm not going to try to say somebody's making an excuse. It's crazy because it's something we've seen so many times in the past. Sugar Ray Leonard, Julian Jackson, those are the guys that suffered, detached retinas that almost ended their career. So for Errol Spence, this isn't nothing new. This new class, it's just like y'all just casual fans. Y'all got to go back and do your history, Yeah, it's something serious. But, it's not a total loss, though. Next Saturday is not going to be a total loss because Manny Pacquiao is still going to be fighting. Still going to be fighting for a belt. But it's not going to be Errol, of course. It's not going to be for his belts. It's going to be Eubanks Ugas. Eubanks Ugas sucks, too, that his opponent suffered an injury, which is crazy. That is crazy. That's kind of a head scratcher that Fabian Maidana, who is the brother of Marcos Maidana, suffered an injury. And they were supposed to be the co-main event. But, his opponent is out. So Eubanks Ugas is actually stepping up to the plate to face Manny Pacquiao now, putting his WBA belt on the line. So, Manny Pacquiao can still get in there. He can still perform, still put on a show, make his return after 2 years. And, of course, this ain't the fight that Errol Spence and Manny is, but I think this is going to be a good fight. If you're not familiar with Eubanks Ugas, he's a tough Cuban boxer. He's strong, has decent, respectable pop on his shots, but nothing devastating like Errol and, even like Danny Garcia. I think he does have some good thudding shots, and he does have good pressure, and he is a strong welterweight. He still is going to be a big, strong welterweight coming in here, towering over Manny Pacquiao like Errol would. But as far as the skill set, I don't know if it's going to be something new to Manny Pacquiao. Could be like the Claudia fight, could be like the Margarito fight. I don't know. If Manny Pacquiao was able to go in there and control the distance and control the pace of the fight, I could see him getting off combinations. But you never know because Eubanks Ugas, he gave Sean Porter hell. Eubanks Ugas was able to keep the pressure on Sean Porter and box Sean Porter and time him and land some good body shots and then they drop him, and do some damage to Sean Porter. So you don't know, like if Eubanks Ugas is able to put the pressure on Manny Pacquiao and survive maybe the first half of the fight until Manny Pacquiao slows down, he could really start to catch Manny to the body. If they start going to the body on Manny and start timing a good right hand, they could land some good shots and hurt him, because he does have the size advantage. And if Eubanks Ugas knows how to use his size and, knows how to lay on Manny Pacquiao and kind of tie him up, similar to how Jeff Horn did. I still think Jeff Horn lost that fight to Manny, though. But anyway, if he's able to use that size and strength, he could make this a rough and ugly fight for Manny Pacquiao. And that's what he has to do. You have to take away the legs of Manny Pacquiao. But that's the question. Does Eubanks Ugas have that level up? And that's something I've always kind of questioned about Eubanks Ugas in the past. Like, Sean Porter fight, a lot of people think he won. I still think Sean Porter was able to edge it out. Had Eubanks Ugas leveled up just, even a few more points than Sean Porter, I think he could have took it home and maybe scored a couple of knockdowns and, bagged the fight. But he still needs that level up in him. And, of course, somebody like Manny Pacquiao, he's been there and done that before. So I can't help but lean towards Manny Pacquiao going into this fight. Of course, I'll talk about it more during fight week. But, Errol Spence Jr., I'm wishing him the best. I'm wishing him a full recovery. I want him to continue, his career. And I want to see him build up his legacy. He's been doing so much for boxing and taking on the best fights. And, you know, he really wants to become undisputed. So, you know, I want to see him fully recover from this. You know, I want to see him fully recover because he's one of few fighters out there that want to fight the best. You know, he's one of those guys that wants to go towards undisputed. So I hope he can get there. You know, one of the best in a thriving division. You know, so yeah, shout out to Errol Spence and shout out to Manny Pacquiao, of course, too, you know, making his return next Saturday. Definitely still going to be tuning into the fight, though. But yeah, man, it's like I said, boxing fans right now, we really are suffering some big hits. Also just in Benavidez versus Ugas, however you pronounce his name, is super middleweight. Their fight is off. He actually tested positive. Let me pull up that information real quick on y'all. But yeah, man, it's crazy because every time we want to come back to boxing and just talk, you know, some of these real fights, man, like these real matches, something happens. That's why it's like, you got to keep your fingers crossed. Every time something announced, you got to keep your fingers crossed. Like Valentina versus Lauren Murphy, please keep your fingers crossed. Keep your fingers crossed that this fight is going to still happen. I mean, Roxanne versus Tatiana, that fight is out. What else? Hopefully, Manon Fiorot versus Mayra Bueno Silva is still happening. So, look, just keep your fingers crossed, y'all. Please. Let's see here. I know I saw that. Yeah, David Benavidez, he tested positive. So his fight with Ugas is off. You know, that fight was just around the corner. Like not a big fight for you casual fans, but, you know, for the hardcore fans, you know, this is going to be a good fight for August 28th, but it's out now. So, yeah. Tell you, man, new norm. Fights will be canceled just as fast as they are signed with this pandemic going on, man. But, yeah, guys, let's jump to the next thing here. What I want to talk about. Yeah, let's talk about Tecia Torres. Shout out to Tecia Torres. Scored a dominant decision win over Angela Hill. You know, they fought, 6 years ago. And once again, Tecia Torres just showed that she has that level up and that IQ to go in there and outperform a fighter of Angela Hill's caliber. You know, I think the one thing that I always said about these two fighters is, you know, Tecia Torres has a better skill set, but she also has the ability to think out of the box. She can kind of switch it up and make adjustments. You know, Tecia in this fight wasn't as defensive minded and just speed oriented like she was in the first fight. This time around, she did take more chances and she sat down on her kicks a little bit more. And she did come in a little bit more gung-ho, like she wanted to take more chances. You know, she was letting the right hand go, and I heard she fractured or broke the right hand. I think she just fractured the right hand, like she said in her interview, but she continued to still let it go. You know, she was taking crazy chances in there, right? As for Angela Hill, though, she did everything the opposite of what I was saying in my keys to victory for. You know, you got to be a point fighter. You got to pick your shots. You got to use a jab. You got to use a straight jab if you're the longer, taller fighter and you're a stand-up fighter. You know, you got to develop a jab. And that's the one thing that Angela Hill's kind of lacked, that ability to, you know, punch straight and just throw flurries and combinations and have a good work rate. You know, she's just really had that trouble. And I think, you know, some people are, you know, kind of on two sides about Angela Hill. Some people think she needs to retire. Some people just agree that she needs to accept the level that she's on, you know, which I'm mostly leaning towards that side. I'm leaning towards that side more so. I think that Angela Hill, the way she's been moving and the improvements that we don't see in her fights do kind of hold her back from, you know, going into that level of, you know, 1 through 8, even 1 through 10. You know, I don't see her reaching 10 anytime soon in her career. You know, as long as fighters like Tecia Torres are around and as long as she continues to, you know, go the distance, because she's always going to be the victim of these close decisions. She's always going to be on the losing end until she learns how to sit down on her punches, knock somebody out, or she becomes a grappler and starts submitting people. So sometimes there's certain fighters like that. When the odds are against you, you have to turn into a killer. You know, you really do. You have to turn into something that you may not want to or think that's going to really favor you, but you have to somehow find that way to become a different fighter in there. You know, I've seen it time and time again throughout Angela Hill's fights. Like, how many fights has she had now? Like over 20 fights, almost 20 fights now in the UFC. And I just see the same Angela Hill. You know, here and there, her takedown defense has improved a little bit, but I still see the same Angela Hill. I mean, I'm just being real, right? That's why she's still at the same level. You know, so for Angela Hill, she's just got to make some improvements if she wants to get into the top 10. But from here, I think she does have a career of being just that gatekeeper at this level and fighting the up and coming prospects, you know, the Kay Hansons, the Ruizes, the Cheyenne Bays, the Gloria DePaulas, the Genu Fries, you know, fighters like that. You know, she can always give them a good fight, score a win here and there, go on the win-loss pattern, you know. But going back to Tecia Torres, you know, Tecia Torres, she definitely had a good performance. And I will say that it's still a little early to say if she is like elite level or if she's really going to give a big test to, you know, the top 3 or the top 4, if that. But speaking of the top 4, she called out the top 5. You know, she said, I want a top 5 opponent. And I think the one opponent that would be best for her if she wants somebody in the top 5 would be Yan Xiaonan. You know, Tecia Torres bumps up to number 9 right now, so jumping up 5 spots. That's a good fight for her. Because, you know, right now, I don't know if Claudia Gadelha is going to be available for a fight. Who else is taking right now? We have Mackenzie Dern and Marina Rodriguez getting ready to throw down in October. So when you match somebody up like Tecia Torres, you want her to fight up. And with somebody like Yan Xiaonan, who is coming off a very dominant, brutal loss, a brutal loss where she was dominated to the number 3 Carla Esparza, you really want her to fight up. Because if she lost to Carla in the fashion that she did, you wouldn't want to see her in there with Zhang Weili or Rose or Joanna, right? So after such a loss, brutal loss for her, you want her to fight down. So Yan Xiaonan, Tecia Torres are meeting in the middle. So that fight makes sense. So yeah, I think that's a fight that could happen, and I agree with Tecia Torres. If she wants a top 5 fighter, let her have it. You know, she's proven time and time again that she's one of the toughest, which is probably a video I'm going to work on. I know it's going to be a controversial video because I'm going to talk about how I feel like Tecia Torres is if not one of the toughest in the strawweight division, but the toughest. And I'm going to have to break down the definition of tough and how I see it when I relate it to Tecia Torres too. You know, I mean, yes or no? Do you think she's one of the toughest, or do you think she is the toughest? However you want to look at it. I'm going to do a video on it though, guys, so, you know, be on the lookout for it. But yeah, I think this fight makes sense because, let's see here. I'm going to look at the rankings with y'all. Yeah, everybody in between is a fight that can't really happen because Tecia Torres is number 9 now. Claudia Gadelha still out. Nina Ansaroff, I don't think she's making a return to strawweight, but she's still holding on to the number 7 spot. And then from there, number 5 and 6, you have Mackenzie Dern and Marina Rodriguez who are about to fight. So the next logical opponent for Tecia, if she is to fight up, is Yan Xiaonan. And I think that's a good fight. That's a good fight to get her back into the mix, you know, to show off her skills against, you know, somebody in the top 5. Let's see how much Tecia Torres has improved. You know, the last 3 fights, Tecia has shown some good levels, but that's against competition that was a little bit lower than her, you know, fighters that were just coming in. But then when she showed up against Angela Hill, you know, she was able to dominate a fighter she fought 6 years ago. So that's a good win over a veteran. But now let's see what you can do against somebody in the top 5. And to get there, I think Yan Xiaonan would be one of the first names that the UFC would give her to, you know, really showcase and answer those questions. How much improvements has she made? I think it'd be a good stand-up fight too. I think Yan Xiaonan does have good hand speed, but I think Tecia Torres is just as fast, maybe faster. And the thing about Tecia is she has that wrestling. She has that strength that could give Yan Xiaonan fits. You know, so that's a good fight that needs to be made. Yan Xiaonan coming off that Carla Esparza loss, though, you know, this is a fight that could kind of bring back some, you know, nightmares from that Carla Esparza performance, because I can see Tecia Torres doing the same thing. And, you know, if Tecia Torres wants to score a big win, you know, she wants to score a big statement win and wants to see if she can score another stoppage, you know, this would be that fighter to go in there against. You know, it would really secure her maybe a title eliminator, or it would secure her a win against the Dern Rodriguez winner for a title eliminator, if that makes sense. You know, so if Tecia and Jan fight, and Tecia beats Jan, Tecia could fight the winner of Dern Rodriguez. Then in that mini tournament, the winner of that fight could maybe fight for the belt next, you know, after Carla Esparza, because Carla still needs her rematch in her title shot, right? So yeah, man. Yeah, that's what's up for Tecia Torres. You know, she called out a top 5 fighter, so let her get it. I mean, she's fought some of the best. I mean, she's fought 4 tough fights in a row, which I've already talked about, you know, many a time, and she wasn't stopped or in any danger of being stopped. It was just that she just didn't have that level of skill set to defeat these fighters, you know, the stronger fighters, the longer, taller fighters, which is something that tells you that if she can stay in there, she has the heart and the durability to go 3 rounds with Joanna, Andrade, Zhang Wei Li, and Marina Rodriguez, is that the keys to victory are there. They can be there. You know, if she can stay in there that long, anything is possible. Anything is possible for Tecia Torres, I think. If you're game for these 4 tough fighters, you really just have to do your homework and really, really figure out a style for your size and your frame to be able to defeat these tall, long fighters. That's what you got to look. You got to give Carla Esparza credit. You know, she went in there and defeated Marina Rodriguez. She defeated that tall fighter. Couldn't defeat Tatiana Suarez or Joanna, but I mean, she had the key for that. And I think it's possible for Tecia to, you know, rise above again. You know, I really do think it is possible for her. But yeah, man, shout out to Tecia Torres. Once again, like I said, video coming on how tough do I think she is and where I think she ranks as far as some of the toughest, one of the toughest strawweights out there, if not the toughest. But let's jump to this next topic, y'all. Sijara Eubanks, the Sarge. You know, she's taken to her social media the end of July after her win over Elise Reed. She's been feeling pumped. She's been calling people out. She's been screaming, who next? You know, just like my video segment, who next? Which I'm going to have to put this in who next, right? Because Sarge is actually making this easier for me, and she's making it easier for the matchmakers, and she's making it easier for the fans here. You know, we don't have to say, oh man, Sarge, why didn't you call anybody out? Sarge, why are you taking so long to call somebody out, right? Nah, man, she's calling everybody out. She said, I'm on everybody. I'm calling everybody out. You know, I want to smoke. Right here, let's pull up her Instagram. This was her last post from July after that win. She said, who's next? It's been 7 days after a fight, no contract yet. She's like, come on, ladies, I don't bite. She tagged Jessica I. She said, look, Jessica I, calling out Macy Barber. But both of them are real quiet when my name come up. How about JoJo Calderwood? She not signed. Calvillo, Arujo, Alexa Grasso. And she said, tag in comments who y'all want to see me fight next. Somebody answer, or I'm going to have to make another TikTok on y'all asses. That's what she said. And she tagged Mick Maynard in the UFC. And she said, y'all know I like to stay busy. Personally, I like Vegas in October, but whatever. So yeah, man, that's real. That's real talk. That's what we all want to see from, you know, some of our, even not our favorite fighters, but some of the fighters in any division. We want to hear somebody put somebody's name on blast because they might be calling out your favorite fight, right? And Sarge did that. So which opponent would be the perfect match for Sarge? Well, let's see. She called out 2, 4, 6 people, right? So first off, let's go through the names that she can't have right now. Let's go ahead and X them out. 2 of them already X'd out because they're fighting in November. She did call out JoJo and she called out Alexa Grasso, but they're scheduled to fight in November. So that matchup is out. Both of those matchups are out for her. You know, JoJo, Grasso out. So we're down to 4 now, right? Who else is not going to be available for her to fight? Calvillo. And I will say this, I'm on Calvillo's side here because she did respond. Calvillo is not one to duck. She's not one to hide. You know, she will call somebody out. Case in point, she has a fight, which is why she can't fight Sarge. She has a fight in September. Let's pull up her response. So Calvillo responded. She said, look, I have someone lined up already. I ain't scared of anyone. I respect the call out, though. We'll get it eventually, right? So, yeah, shout out to Cynthia Calvillo. You know, she's always on the line when it comes down to fight. She'll fight anybody. You know, she's always been like that, too. And her tough test is even tougher That's Jessica Andrade, y'all. So, yeah, that's another opponent out, potential opponent out. Let's see. So that leaves that leaves these three good names right here. That leaves Viviane Araújo, Macy Barber, or Jessica Ai, right? Which one of those y'all want to see? Personally, I'll take any three. I'll take all three of those for any of them. Any of them are good for me. I would like to see the Jessica Ai fight because her and Sarge do have a little bit of beef there. That would be like a grudge match, just like Ai versus Calderwood was. So that's a fight I would like to see, though. You know, Jessica Ai versus Sarge, and I think that would be a good fight to get her into the top 10. Matter of fact, let's go ahead and pull up some rankings while we talk. All right, so Jessica Ai right now for Sarge would be a good fight. Why? Because Jessica Ai is ranked number 8. But an even better fight would be Viviane Araújo, who's ranked number 7. Because Sarge, I'm not going to lie, her coming back to flyweight, she doesn't really need to be starting off like she's a prospect again or fighting unranked fighters. Let her pick up where she left off because she was a fighter that was showing a lot of promise in the Tough House. You know, it's supposed to come down to her and Nico Montano, you know, for that flyweight belt. But, you know, it's instead Roxy had to step in for her and she fought Nico and Nico won the belt, right? So Sarge had already kind of left a stamp on what she could do and what she was at flyweight, you know, big force, you know, rugged, tough force. Then she went to bantamweight when she was having trouble making weight. And there she could never really capitalize because I think the girls were just too big and too strong for it, you know? So for Sarge, if she could step right back in where she left off, like, 2.5, 3 years ago, I think she could pick it back up and be a force. You know, she already holds wins over Roxanne Modafferi and Lauren Murphy, right? So putting her back into the mix with somebody like Viviane Araújo or Jessica Ai, the number 7 and 8, that would be good. That would be a good way for her to get back into the mix and, you know, possibly fight, you know, the winner of Calvillo Andrade. Because if she looks good against a win over Ai or Viviane Araújo, she could step in maybe against Jennifer Maia. And let's say she beats Jennifer Maia, she could fight somebody like, you know, one of the potential gatekeepers. Not Chikagan because they're training partners and friends, but more like whoever wins the Andrade Calvillo fight, right? But the other name that she threw out there, Macy Barber, that's a good name. You know, Macy Barber coming off a win over, a gift win over Miranda Maverick, which puts her at number 13. And of course, Sarge, she's not ranked in the flyweight division. That's a good fight. Like if they just wanted to, you know, put her in the mix and didn't want to throw her into the top 10 right away. And it's a name. If she goes in there and wrestles the hell out of Macy Barber and just dominates, I think that would guarantee her that like number 11 or number 12 spot. And when she does that, she could probably get a top 10 from there. And not a bad fight either, just to kind of really, really welcome her into flyweight once again, because we could really see her make that progression back to 125, you know, just as far as her weight. You know, take the Macy fight, see if she can make 125 again. And if she does, and she's strong, and she can go 3 rounds with the 3-round fighter like Macy Barber, you know, that would prove a lot about her and what kind of force she is. You know, because Viviane Araújo, she is tough, though. You know, Viviane Araújo is big. She's strong. Very, very good striking. Very, very good striking. You know what I mean? I mean, the thing about her is just her gas tank. But that would still be a tough fight for Sarge, you know, especially if the weight cut is rough. So you might want to start off with that lower level of like a number 13. I mean, all 3 of them are good names to me. You know, all 3 of them are good names to me for Sarge. Any one of those wins would be big, though. So, guys, let me know in the comment section what y'all think, man. But, yeah, we might have to turn this into a Who Next video for sure. But, all right. Next matchmaker I want to play. Next fight I want to play matchmaker with. All right. I talked about it in live stream. We'll talk about it again because we're going to talk this fight up. Miranda Maverick versus Montana De La Rosa. All right. That's the number 14 Miranda versus number 15 Montana. Fight that needs to happen. It is a fight that needs to happen. Shout out to BJ from No Filter MMA. You know, that's his girl, Montana. But I'd say that now that this is a fight that needs to happen, I feel a little bit different about it than I did like a few months ago because, you know, with the setback Miranda faced, it makes her have to kind of fight down now. You know, now that she kind of lost that stock because they robbed her of a win over Macy Barber, you know, she's got to fight down, you know, and I don't think she deserves like an unranked fighter, but maybe, you know, the lowest of the top 15, which is the number 15, Montana De La Rosa, right? So good fight for her since she has to fight down. Montana De La Rosa coming off a win over the unranked Ariane Lipsky, put her in the number 15, so she's going to fight up. So much like Tecia and Yan Xiaonan, these two are going to be meeting in the middle. That's why that fight makes sense. You know, now with Miranda, you know, facing that close loss / robbery to Macy Barber, you know, we have to see Montana De La Rosa. We have to see Miranda in there, Montana De La Rosa, to see what she can do as far as making improvements on how to close the show and how to be a showstopper now. You know, because the judges are against her. We saw that. So now she got to go in there against a big, tough, strong fighter like Montana, you know, who's a 3-round fighter like Macy Barber. And we got to see what type of adjustments she can make in there without gassing out and going in there and performing to a high level to make us forget that Macy Barber fight and say, no, yeah, we got to put her back. And she really did beat Macy Barber. You know what I mean? And for Montana De La Rosa, this is a fight she needs because she's number 15 now. She got to fight her way up. You know, she has to fight her way up. And I don't think right now they would want to make a fight with Macy Barber because Macy's probably going to get her top 10 fighter now. You know, and you know, Montana's already fought Andrea Lee, Taylor Santos. I don't think they'll match up with Montana. They might try to get her back with Roxy. So Miranda makes sense. You know, makes sense for her. You know, kind of edging her back up easy. You know, don't easily, you know, step by step with her. You know, no need to push her up because, you know, Montana still doesn't have that skill set like some of these top level fighters. You know, she's still not on that level like these fighters like Taylor Santos and Miranda Maverick, right? So Montana, baby steps for her. And Miranda, that's a big baby step though. That's a big baby step because I think Miranda Maverick to me has more of skill set, which I'll talk about here in a minute. You know, I think Montana De La Rosa, you know, she needs to take these little steps because we've seen a lot from Montana already to kind of gauge her more than we have Miranda as far as, you know, pros and cons. I mean, for Miranda, she's always performed to a much more promising level. That's why I think highly of her and I think highly of fighters like Manon Firo and Taylor Santos because they've always performed and they've always advanced and they've always showed advanced skills and they didn't struggle against lower fighters. You know, even for Montana De La Rosa, you know, she did struggle in, she didn't struggle. She lost to other, you know, top prospects in the beginning like Mackenzie Dern and Cynthia Calvillo, you know, in LFA. She was losing to fighters like that. And, you know, she lost in the tough house, dominated by Nico Montano in there. So she already kind of showed you what level she was on. Where Miranda Maverick, to me, she got an L back, you know, in her Invicta days against Deanna Bennett and suffered another loss. But she came back, beat Deanna Bennett. You know, she dominated UFC veteran and Pearl Gonzalez. You know, she took the whole Phoenix series. She won it. Then she beat a tough grappler in Jillian Robertson. And she, you know, was able to stop Liana Jojo in her debut, right? So there was never really any questionable moments for her. That's why I feel like she steps out of the box more so than Montana De La Rosa. Montana's still kind of struggling on the level she is. Like she'll win some and lose some. But when it comes to the elite fighters like Arujo and Andrea Lee, she will lose, right? She will get dominated and she'll lose a decision to, right? So I think that's where we are kind of with Montana. That's why she has to go in here against a much more experienced and promising prospect in Miranda Maverick and perform at a high level. You know, she has to. But when it comes down to styles, I think this fight is going to be a really, really good fight. And I think it's kind of questionable on how it could go as far as stand-up or wrestling, because I think, you know, Miranda Maverick, though she does have the striking, you know, she has the strength to take it to the ground. And sometimes she will be drawn into that type of fight to go in there and rough a fighter up, you know, that she feels like she could go in there and take down to the ground and submit. You know, I think it could be interesting with the stand-up. I think it could be interesting on the ground. You know, for one, I think Miranda has a better overall selection with her striking. You know, not one thing stands out, but I think she does mix it up with the body attack. she throws good left hands, the southpaw stance, decent jab. She'll know how to flick out shots and feint. She can set up takedowns off of her striking. She does a little bit of everything. Montana De La Rosa, I think she has pop on her shots, which could definitely even out the playing field. She's longer, has a good right hand when she lets it go, and a good solid jab when she lets it go. So with a fighter like Miranda Maverick, who doesn't have the best defense, when Montana doesn't either, I think Miranda still is a little bit better with her defense. It could be effective if Miranda was to stand in front of her, but Miranda does have the ability to adjust and start using angles. Every now and then she will get hit, but she'll make that adjustment quick when whenever she can, judge someone's power, she will start using angles. So I think it would be a good fight. I think it's definitely a good matchup for them now. And if Miranda can go in there and dominate, she can go right back where she left off, because I do think Montana brings some danger factors more than Macy did. After watching Macy's performance against Miranda, and I feel like she didn't beat Miranda, I didn't see much there much else that Macy Barber did to prove that she won the fight. Like, she couldn't land anything big. She never dropped Miranda. She never even used her power to her full advantage. Miranda controlled the fight. Macy was in the 3 rounds, but still she couldn't control it. Whereas I think Montana, she'll be a little bit more come forward. She'll be a little bit more dangerous for all 3 rounds for sure, because she does have the ground game, where Macy doesn't. So if it goes to the ground, it will be an interesting fight here. So yeah, this is one we got to see, y'all. This one we got to see now. And, Miranda got to go in there and get another win to kind of, shut all doubters out and, shut them up basically and get back where she needs to be. So yeah, definitely let me know what y'all think of the fight. So let's talk about this fight, this topic real quick. Amanda Nunes and Juliana Pena. As y'all know, Juliana Pena, she's been hounding Amanda Nunes, man. She's been hounding her for this fight. She wants it. We all want it now. But, we can't be restless. I mean, she was dealing with some things. But in the meantime, Juliana Pena said, look, if Amanda can't come back by December, I'm giving her a deadline. That'll be 2 years that she hasn't defended the belt. 2 years since she hasn't defended the belt. Give me an interim title fight. I want an interim title fight. And I was thinking about it at first. I said, maybe that's just talk. Some people said it might just be talk as well. I thought about it. But at the same time, I said, I was kind of on the fence here because it could be a JoJo Jennifer Maia type move where, you ask for a fight, stay busy fight or interim fight, and that could mess up opportunity for the bigger bag, But I kind of feel where Juliana Pena is coming from. You got to kind of put a deadline on it, even if you're just talking. Because right now it could just be talk. Because Juliana Pena right now, she is talking a big game. She definitely talked her way into a title fight, and now she's talking about interim title fight. That could definitely make Dana White say, yo, Amanda, look, double champ, it's time to get back in there. She right, you haven't defended this belt in 2 years. Like, come on, what's the holdup? Is it the weight? Is the weight now? Were you not training properly in the meantime? Or you just kind of chilling? What's the deal? So I do kind of feel where Juliana Pena is coming from. She's using everything. She's using everything that she can right now to make sure she can get this fight. Now she's trying to corner the champ, after the postponement, which I say, in no way I'm not saying Nunes is ducking her, but Nunes is kind of calling the shots and kind of putting the fight off now, right? There is no date. Even if she did test positive, I'm thinking a date should be scheduled now for November, December, right? But there haven't been no talks, still no talks. So Pena is doing everything in her power to say, look, either this or interim fight. Come on out. She went out to the press conference. She got at the podium. She was like, Dana, where is she? Am I getting this fight? Am I going by December? And, Dana's just kind of like, all right, just kind of hold back. You'll get your fight. Just hold on, right? So, yeah, I think Juliana Pena is doing everything right in her power, staying verbal, staying relevant, staying out there. What we think is going to happen in the fight, that's another story. But as far as just being prompt, I know where she's coming from, but interim fight, though, yes or no? It's tough, man, because if it's GDR, she could be losing title opportunity. You know what I mean? If it's Aspen Ladd, that might be a winnable fight for her, but Aspen Ladd is already facing Macy Chiasson, so that's out. So who else could there be? Let me hold on now. I got the rankings right here. Let's talk. We'll pull it up. I got these rankings at my disposal. All right, let's see. So GDR, I would say that's out because GDR already beat her. Holly Holm is fighting Norma Dumont. Aspen Ladd is booked. She's booked with Macy Chiasson. Then we have Irene Aldana, who's ranked right above her. Does she want to do an interim title with Irene Aldana? I don't know. I mean, that'd be an interesting fight. I mean, it's a winnable fight for Pena, but it could be a winnable fight for Aldana. So when you talk about an interim fight, you want to put another obstacle in front of you. You know, you got to make sure that you are prepared. And I think Pena, you know, the way she is, you know, the guts that she's shown, she thinks she is prepared. Or she could just really be doing this to make, you know, to just light that fire up under Amanda Nunes too, right? So it's however you look at it, man. Like, we'll know within the next few weeks if we see interim belt Pena versus Aldana happening, then we'll know that, hey, she was ready to go. You know, she was ready to go, and she just wants to really corner Nunes at this point. But yeah, man, I don't think it really means anything to Nunes as far as like her being a duck. You know, you ain't scared of Pena at this point. You know, she's fought the best. I think it just comes down to Nunes being the champ, being the shot caller. That's what she's doing now. Being the double champion that she is, she thinks she can, you know, put in the ball. The ball is always in her playing field. But in my opinion, though, I will say this about the double champ thing. I would like it if she vacated one or the other title. I don't know, like vacate 145, 135, whichever, because, yeah, it's been 2 years. And if she's going to be a double champion, we're always going to have like a year off where the belt's not defended, whether it be featherweight or bantamweight. You know what I mean? I mean, she pretty much cleaned out 135 to me. It's kind of time for new blood there. For real, like December 2019, GDR. Wow, yeah, we're going on 2 years since, you know, a title defense has been made at 135, right? So yeah, man, like I think it'd be nice for Nunes to give up one belt. We could kind of see who could fight for the vacant title. You know, GDR versus Shevchenko. I'm just saying, I'm just saying. But yeah, guys, let me know in the comment section what y'all think. You know, this ain't a topic that I'm gonna really continue to just go off on. It'll play out. It'll play out in the months coming, man. I think we'll have a fight announcement by the end of this month or maybe September. But last but not least, guys, look, shout out to Pam Sorenson. Pam Sorenson is making her return against Roberta Samad from Brazil on this Bellator 264 card. She will be on the prelims, returning to her home, returning featherweight. And, you know, yeah, man, returning back to the octagon, I'm glad for Pam Bam. You know, it's been a minute. Roberta Samad, as y'all know, she fought a couple years ago with PFL. You know, she's been in the mix there. You know, she's about 5'8". You know, she's a pretty big fighter. You know, she's a big featherweight. You know, she was fighting at lightweight for PFL. So she's been in the mix. I think the highest level opponent she's fought is Julia Budd. Seen that fight. But yeah, I think that a fighter like Pam Sorenson, even with the layoff, I think she has the all-around better technical skills. You know, I always said that she's one of the best technical featherweights I've seen in Invicta FC. And, you know, I did, you know, a lot of research on Samad. I just think that somebody like Pam Sorenson, who has that resume and has those names under her belt, you know, has the skill set to make adjustments in this fight. So she's about 5'8", dealing with, you know, Pam. You know, Pam's 5'7". Pam's 5'7". You know, she's a pretty solid featherweight. You know, so I think she's going to be going here, and, you know, she's going to showcase the skills, and she's going to make a statement. You know, she's been staying busy as far as her training and staying sharp. You know, I know she had the surgery and everything, but I think mentally Pam Bam is ready. She's ready. You know, she's ready to take that anger out, you know, even from the UFC. You know, the UFC, when, you know, Dana White was talking that trash. But, yeah, man, they missed out. Dana White, they missed out on a solid featherweight. So, yeah, shout out to Pam. Definitely going to be tuning in to you, Pam Bam, on Friday. Everybody else do the same, man. It's been about 2 years since we seen Pam in the octagon in Invicta FC. I'm ready, guys. I'm ready. But, yeah, man, that's about it for this episode, guys. like I said, for all these fighters out there, even for, regular everyday people, look, whenever opportunities come, whatever it is, let's go ahead and, we gotta seize the moment, man, because we just been seeing a lot of things going down, whether it be death, injuries, a lot of things that kind of hold you back on life. So when times get hard, man, that's when you really get to appreciate certain things, that you had, so I know there's some things that just come up and they will put you in that situation and you can't help it, asking God, fate happens. And sometimes they happen for the best, but whenever you have that opportunity, man, you got to take it. When it's in front of you, you got to take it, guys. But yeah, that's pretty much all I got, guys. Final thoughts, definitely want to see Errol Spence come back 100%, take on the legend and Manny and continue his career to be the best welterweight. Tecia Torres, like I said, I want to see her in there with Yan Janan. Sarge wants all the smoke. Let's get it. Those are 3 fighters that she needs. Miranda, Maverick, Montana, De La Rosa, let's make it happen. Pam Bam, ready to see you return. Juliana, Pena, Nunes, hey, definitely want to see his title fight by the end of 2021, guys. But yeah, that's all I got, y'all. Make sure y'all subscribe to the show. iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, all of that. We'll be on iHeartRadio as well. Subscribe to #CB99Talks. Always talking WMMA and boxing as it slowly, gradually comes back. Now scratch that. I will talk more boxing, man, when it does come up as far as like fights. I just can't talk he say, she say, man, with boxing, man. I got to have some juices. But like I said, maybe I have to go back to the history and to the sweet science of boxing. There's a lot of history of boxing I could teach to y'all, man. But yeah, we'll see y'all. We'll see y'all how it goes with the boxing talk. But yeah, man, like always, guys, I'll be back. Yeah, man, so this is Combo Breaker 99 signing off. Make sure y'all subscribe. I'll see y'all on the next one. Peace.